Hello, this tutorial explains the use of the checkerboard pattern that can be applied to an object prior to starting the texture work on an object. This object has been mapped already with a quick texture applied to it. In the UV editor you can see that the UVs have been laid out. This will accommodate more items that could be attached to this object. The reason for a checker pattern is to see the distribution of the UV space across the object and to make sure it's even. To create a checker pattern, just find an empty slot in the material editor. Under Maps, Diffuse Channel, click on None and then find Checker. Once you have that, you can color the checkers any color you wish and increase the tiling however you'd like. Make sure you click on Show Shaded Material in Viewport and you can see we have a new checker pattern established. The difference in tiling is 50 on the blue and green, 40 by 40 tiling versus 10 by 10 tiling on the orange and red. The reason for the higher amount is simply to better see the UV space that's being used by each part. Once you go into the UV editor, you can change the space that a particular section uses. For instance, I can click on these two faces and if needed I could make their area of UV coverage larger. But in general we want a similar UV spacing across the whole object. The smaller the squares, the larger the UV space that's being consumed. In order to add an object, one way to do it is to collapse what you have down to an editable poly and attach the new object. Let me delete the rest of the scene. Actually hide unselected. With this new object attached now as an element to the mapped area, I can go and change the UV mapping of that piece individually. I can select by element and select all the faces of that new trapezoid element and map them separately. Turn this off and go into the UV editor where I can now see the new piece and its UVs have been added. I will move it into place and try to check out the size. I will review the size of the checkers in comparison to the rest of the object. If for any reason they need to be bigger, that's easy to do at this point. You can simply scale them. For instance, if this is a label or a license plate type of object, an identifier where there are numbers or letters. So we have added that object to the previously mapped object, and we can collapse that again. If we put our original material on it, we will need to return to Photoshop or whatever method we were using to generate the textures and generate a texture area for that new piece. This is why in general it's good to do your geometry first, then your mapping, and then your texture work. Although that is not a requirement, that is one way to do it in that linear fashion. Hope this helps. Thank you.